So I'm happy to be here again. Thank you for making it, everyone, on a Sunday, when we're all supposed to be resting, but we're here learning more about scholarship and school applications. I hope you're doing well. So I'll just take off from where I stopped the last time, which is basically, giving you more concrete examples of, how to really apply to scholarship, with examples of friends, people that have already applied to scholarships, like different fellowship, scholarship, and grants. And these are like real life examples that I think can be really useful to you. And I hope the session will also be very helpful, and you can see how to, translate your personal story into, something creative, something that when you write as a storytelling will be very useful and motivating for the sponsors or whoever it is that wants to give you the scholarship. So let's get started. Share my screen. Let me know when you can see it. Yeah, I believe you can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so yes, I think I stopped here the last time I presented. So this is the continuation of my presentation. So just in a nutshell, let's recap what we did the last time. We talked about different application tips, where to find applications, the website, databases, where to find this list of amazing opportunities for you to fund your education, either bachelor's degree or master's, so undergrad or postgraduate level. And what I just wanted to say before I start with the examples is, for me, as someone who's applied to so many scholarships, and as I said, have had my, my good share of successes, but also a lot of failures. So when you're embarking on this journey for scholarship application, it's not always going to be a yes, yes, yes. But the thing that will only make you fail is when you don't actually apply. So I really want to encourage you, all of you, to always apply. Always, put in your candidacy. You never know. If God is on your side, everything is possible. But you have to do your part to actually apply. Otherwise, it's not going to be possible. So have the right mindset of like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I also think Jordan said it the last time, timing is very crucial. You have to, know the deadline for the scholarships, which tend to be, let's say, about October, November, December. So the last 3 months of the year before the year you want to start your studies. So for anyone who's looking into starting the graduate program or postgraduate, let's say, next year, August, September, you have to start applying for your scholarships now. Even though you maybe don't have admission already to the university, but you have to start now so that if you get admission, the scholarship will be able to sync the timing for when you're about to start your uni, let's say next year, August or September. And the other thing is, as I was saying, never give up and keep on applying. So I'm going to use my personal story and then show you examples of what I've written and also my friends' essays to kind of like show you how I do my own storytelling and I write my scholarship applications. So the first question I always ask myself, or I think about is, what do I want to study first of all, and how can I sell my story? Because at the end of the day, the people that are going to sponsor you for your scholarship or grants or fellowship, they also want to know, the reason why. Why is it you and not someone else? What it is that makes you special, or what it is that you can bring to the table that will, be of use to them if they give you the money or the grant or whatever it is you're asking for. So it's very important to create your own storyline. It also, requires you to do like a, self-digging to understand, okay, what it is that I want, what is the impact that I want to bring to my community or my society, and how does this link to the studies that I want to do, and how will I be the best candidate among every other person that can actually do this, and and I can bring this and I can deliver this for them. So you can create your own storyline. So for example, I always go with the story that I'm a language girl, a global citizen who wants to bridge and connect people together, or connect different cultures or different societies together. So for example, this year when I was applying to my master's program, it's called Global Human Development. It's a development program. So I'm studying international development, international politics, societies, and how underdeveloped countries, why are they going through all the problems they're going through, and how can we create solutions? So when I was writing my motivation letter, I started with the story that, okay, I was born in so place, so in Nigeria. I grew up in another country, in this case, Spain. I've lived in XYZ country. I've been able to see the world, from one perspective, from the African perspective, from the European perspective. And I've been able to travel and see how other countries are so developed. And I wonder why my, country of birth, or other countries in Africa, or let's say in the Caribbean or in Latin America or Southeast Asia, are not as developed as, let's say, European country. What is the issue? What's going on? And I believe that my understanding, coming from my language degree in linguistics and translation, I've been able to see how cultures, relate together. I see how people interact, and then I kind of create a story, a framework in that sense of like, this is my background. This is what I want to go towards. I want to be someone that's going to work maybe in the government, in an international NGO. I want to solve XYZ problem. And if I'm able to do this master's program, this will equip me with more understanding, more knowledge, and more analytical tools that I would not have if I don't do the master's program. So why am I the ideal person to get, let's say, this scholarship? Okay, I have all this background, I have done all these projects, social impact work, and I believe that if I get this opportunity with your grant, I'll be able to even expand the work that I do. I'll be able to, give more to the community, because the more equipped I am, the better job I can do in the future. So this is what I'm saying about your story. Kind of like, okay, this is where you're coming from. This is where you are right now. And this is where you want to go to. So understanding the connection between the work you've done before, the jobs you've done before, the things you're doing right now, your community volunteering work, how does that connect to your field of studies? And what can you provide to the sponsor, the person that's going to give you the funding, the organization, foundation, university, what it is that you can provide to them that will be like an additional value to them. So that's how I think about it. So when I say, who's my audience? I think about, okay, if I'm applying to a university scholarship, I have to think about more like my academic merits, because uni is more, focused on that. And also my volunteer work, what have I done before? If I'm applying to a government scholarship, okay, does my work relate with the government work? If it doesn't, how can I find, this connection? And what I also always say is, I'm gonna show you this through a Google search. So I applied to the Fulbright program. This is very crucial for you guys to do. So let's have a search here. Fulbright. Any of you know what Fulbright is before I start? Can you give me maybe a thumbs up? I don't know if you can do a thumbs up on Zoom, but can I get maybe in the chat or not? Do you know what Fulbright is, or you don't know what Fulbright is? I want to see before I start talking about that. Okay, you can do a thumbs up. Cool. I don't see a lot of thumbs up, so maybe that means people don't know what Fulbright is. Okay, no worries. So this is the official website for Fulbright. And Fulbright, all of them they always have an office or a commission in every country in the world. So you can go to the Fulbright and write Fulbright Jamaica to see where their office is, so you can, email them and get more information of how to process your scholarship. So for example, with Fulbright, if you say about, I'm going here because I want you to see what is the mission statement of this organization. So if I was to apply to a scholarship to Fulbright, which I did, sorry, I would like to see what exactly does Fulbright want? What is Fulbright looking for in candidates? So if you read this sentence here, actually the second line, it says, the program facilitates cultural exchange through direct interaction on an individual basis in the classroom, field, home, and routine tasks, allowing the grantees, so the people that get a scholarship, to gain an appreciation of other viewpoints and beliefs and the way they do things and the way they think. Through engagement in the community, the individual will interact with their host on one-to-one basis at an atmosphere of openness, academic integrity, intellectual freedom, and mutual understanding. So you just reading this and seeing, what Fulbright's mission is, the idea is that they want to, connect people from a different country to the host country, in this case, the US, if you want to study like in an American university. So you pick keywords from what they're saying: culture exchange, mutual understanding, openness. So whenever you're about to write your own essay, what you have to start thinking about is, okay, what does this organization want? And how can I connect these keywords they're talking about with my experience, with the work, with my experience, with the work that I have done before? How can I connect that to what this organization is looking for in a candidate, in a grantee? So that's why whatever scholarship you want to apply for, it's important to look at their website and see their mission statement so that you can connect that to your scholarship. Because otherwise, you can want to make like a copy paste for all your scholarship. You can do that, but it's not going to give you a lot of success, because you want to tailor your letter, your statement of purpose, your motivation letter to a specific organization, so that whatever you say to them, they know that you've actually read through their purpose. You've read through the mission and vision statement, and they know that, okay, this person really is making a connection between their life, their purpose, with our purpose and our mission. So that's very important in the experience that I've had. Okay, so the third question I have here is, how can I align my purpose with the work of the sponsor? So the person that's giving you the scholarship. And I've made some examples here. So, for example, typical things people write in an essay that makes it more generic and very, like, let's say dry or not so, I feel like you have to put a bit of sauce, a bit of, flavor to your letter, like, personality. They need to know who you are. What is it that you want to do? Why you? They get to know your story by your writing, right? So for example, you see a lot of letters, people write, I am passionate about XYZ, right? It's not that it's bad to say you're passionate about something, but the other way you can write is to write, I have had X experience in whatever, which has made me passionate about something. So in my case, for example, I can say, I have had experience, on volunteer work in Morocco and Taiwan when I traveled there for study abroad, which has then made me passionate about working with young people and empowering them in getting more opportunities to study abroad, or to get more knowledge about opportunities that exist outside of their own territory or their country. So you see, with the way you say that, then gives them a bit of more context to what you've done and why you're passionate about what you're passionate about. Or maybe you're someone who had experience with let's say, lack of opportunities. So now your purpose is to work with underprivileged students. So you have to say that, because I've had this experience, or I've seen this, I've observed this before, now I'm passionate about this topic and I would like to use this now to do the work I want to do. That's very good. Another one, I say, be certain, right? What is it that you want exactly? So in your letter, some people will say, I love communication, or I love intercultural communication. It's not like it's bad, but it's too broad. So I would say something like this. This is not like the perfect example, right? But it's just other ways to formulate your ideas and your passion and the things you want to communicate. So I want to work in intercultural communication between X and Y countries. So let's say I'm Spanish, right? Between Spain and the US, or between the bilateral part of the embassy in cultural affairs, and serve, okay, let me make this a bit bigger. Yeah, and serve as a bridge for example, the Sino-African trade relation. For example, imagine that I was interested in China and I was like, okay, I want to, work in China, or I want to work in the US. I want to, foster the relationship between this country and this country. What exactly do I want to do? I want to work in cultural affairs. I want to work in trade affairs. You have to be specific. Exactly what do you want to do? At this stage, you might be like, I still don't know. I'm still exploring. I don't understand what I want yet. It's normal. We all have this, feeling that, even me right now with my master's, I'm still not sure what I want to do. But for example, reading more, talking to mentors, people, for example, Rachel, in her cohort, in her network of friends, me in my network of people that I have, or Jordan in the network of people that she has. If you see someone that, maybe has you go to LinkedIn, look at what people are doing. How are they formulating the work they do? Does it look like something you might enjoy? Those things give you also like ideas of like, oh, I know that I like intercultural communication, but what can I actually do with this? I have no idea. And then you see, okay, I can work in trade relations. I can work in cultural events. I can work in event management. There's so many things you can do, but because you haven't maybe spoken with someone before, you're not really sure how that could translate into like a future career or something like that. The other one that I also say is to be specific, be certain, right? Be specific, very similar to what I said before. Some people will say, I want to work in the government of my country. This is too broad. I want to work in education policies and advocate for girls' rights in the rural, northern part of my country because XYZ. So, with a statement like this, what you're showing them is that you've really gone through, okay, what are the issues in my country? Education policies, for example. I want to, be part of this because I know that my ideas can be very valuable. I want to advocate specifically for girls' rights in this part of my country because this region has more inequality, or whatever it is that you've observed. This is very important. And then the last one that I have here is, how does your CV connect to your story and the sponsor? So what many people do is that they take their CV and in their statement of purpose, they just write like a list of the things they've done. So I have worked in X, I've done this, I've done that. It's like a mere listing. That's not what you should do. What you should rather do is more like, okay, I worked in X, which has led me to Y. So because I worked in this field before, now this led me to work in another field, for example, and now this is connected to why I want to study Z. Okay, and I hope to continue working in A or Y, whatever it is, So when it's kind of like you're telling them what you've done, but also you make it like, related to what you want to do in the future and how that links to them as the sponsor and their vision and mission, as I was saying before. Are you guys following me? And for some reason, my voice is so dry today. Oh my God. Let me know if you're following what I've been saying till now before I continue. Is it going well? Okay, cool. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. Okay, so now let's go to the specific examples. So this is a real um, statement of purpose. This is from a friend of mine who's studying with me, and I think it's a very good example because she tells a story, right? After you read this girl's kind of like introductory two paragraphs, you know who she is and what she's trying to do. So instead of me reading this, because honestly I'm gonna get some water to drink, can anyone from the group volunteer? Also that way I can interact with you guys, so I'm not the only one speaking. So anyone who wants to volunteer to read the first paragraph and then someone else to read the second paragraph? Anyone in the group? Otherwise I'll pick you. I'll just pick a random, but if you
I
volunteer.
think Daniel is volunteering. Is that
Oh,
the
the thing is
thumbs
that
up,
I
Daniel?
can't see, honestly. So
Okay, Daniel's volunteering.
okay. Can Daniel, wait, where is Daniel?
She's right there.
Is Daniel
Yes.
Daniel's camera on?
Yes.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. So please go ahead. Can you read the first paragraph?
I am the daughter of a millionaire's nanny. I have been to 14 country clubs and resorts during my lifetime. Despite having unlimited access to all of the lavish amenities and deluxe services, I was always an outsider. The color of my skin and my conversations with my mother made it clear that I was on vacation on an invited trip in the gray area between Louis Vuitton boat shoes and bartender polos. I spent much of my time making conversation with the locals that worked at these resorts. More often than not, these were the only people willing to speak to me. Initially, my questions stemmed from my curiosity on the celebrities that stayed in my bedroom. With time, though, I began to ask about life outside the Golden Gates to Paradise, in the villages surrounding the resort.
Thank you very much. That was a very beautiful reading. So we start with the story. First of all, what is she doing? The story is so engaging. Like, this is not a typical way someone would write a motivation letter or a statement of purpose, right? The first sentence you read, I am the daughter of a millionaire nanny. You're like, wait a second, why is this girl applying to a scholarship, right? It makes you like, okay, this looks interesting, this looks different. So the way you're able to engage your reader is very important. You have to think that these people that are gonna receive your letter are gonna be reviewing a lot of applications, a lot. So the moment you're able to captivate their attention from the beginning through your story, the better for you. So I'm not going to go through everything she's saying, but we can see the story. We can see a bit of her life. Okay, her mother being a nanny. We can see the type of life she's lived, and this is going to lead to the second paragraph, right? What is the curiosity, the things she's thinking about, and how does this relate to what she wants to do? So can someone else volunteer for the second paragraph, please?
I can do it.
Yeah, please go ahead. I don't know who's speaking, please. Oh, is
Oh,
that
it's Carl. My camera isn't on
Carl?
because
Okay,
I'm in bed and yeah.
cool. Go ahead.
Um, Indeed, my life has involved extensive observation of the massive inequalities that exist in our world. I had access to every luxury imaginable, yet I could not shake the discomfort that came from watching my mother's back grow more and more hunched with each year she spent picking up crying children to walk them around restaurants where the dinner bill was larger than her weekly check. I used this discomfort to advance in my studies, promising myself that I would use my education to correct this stark inequality present in every villa as well as my own home.
Thank you so much for reading. Perfect. So with the second paragraph, we already get a better picture of, who she is and what she wants to do. I think for me, the key point here is when she talks about, a family, like her mother's, the problem she's faced. She talked about a bit, maybe feeling left alone. And she talks about the inequality, right? So by reading this, I'm like, okay, I can see why this girl wants to work in a field like this. Okay, in the field of education, she wants to correct the stark inequality present in, the world she lives in. So there are other ways, of course, to write a story. But what I'm saying is that they get to know who you are. This does not look like a copy paste from something else. This is a story that she's writing from, her experiences, and it links to what she wants to do in the future. Does this make sense to you guys? I want to see thumbs up or something. I want to see some reaction. Yeah, does it make sense? Cool. Cool. As I was saying, there are different ways, of course, to write, this, but this is an example for me. And she won it's called the Pickering program. The Pickering program is one of the most competitive one, like Fulbright in the US. And when she won, this is not the full letter, this is just a part of the letter because I think this is interesting. So you can see, the type of, people they won, the story, the background. Everyone's story is different. Everyone's story is special because we don't have the same, like we're all different. But if you're able to find a, storytelling skill that works for you, it will really, be interesting the way you present your story to the panelists or to the sponsors. Okay. Before I proceed, because I have more examples, I want to know how I'm doing on time. Please.
You're doing fine.
Sorry, Palumi, can you repeat 1 second?
Yeah, I said before, because I have more examples that I want to show them. I was asking, how am I doing with the time? Am I over my time? Honestly, I don't know how much time I have. So I want to know like how much more I have to cover the rest of my material.
You could go ahead and finish, Palumi, because after this, we only have the breakout room. So I think it'd be better to finish your parts and then shorten the breakout rooms rather than shorten your part. Yeah. Okay,
cool. So the next one, this is another example. And this is, for example, this is an example related to the program she wants to do. So this is another person also from my program. And in this case, they're explaining, okay, what they want to do and what they want to gain. So in the first example, we saw, okay, her story, what she's gone through and what she really wants to solve in the let's say in the society. And then in this one, I'm going to read, if that's okay. So she says, the Global Human Development Program at Georgetown is the program that provides me with the development-focused curriculum, analytical skills, and community to prepare me for my career as a diplomat. So with this statement, we see where she's going towards. Okay, she wants to work as a diplomat. She already wants to do this program in a master's degree in this university, and she wants to learn analytical skills and development-focused curriculum. Okay, I'm not gonna read the second paragraph because it's a bit, it's a big chunk. But in the third paragraph, she mentions, what she values in this program and what she values, what she feels, would be useful for her by doing this program. She says, in addition to the education in the classroom, the emphasis on building relationship at Georgetown is of particular interest. The small class sizes, ethic retreats, and peer mentoring are opportunities for generating conversation beyond the classroom and creating a meaningful network of professionals with shared goals. It is important to learn about a human-centered subject like development at an institution that emphasizes relationships and community. So another way, to kind of express, okay, everything that I've said before, this is what I want to do. And this is also the thing that I want to, gain from this program. So I think that's a very interesting way to also, express her interest in this specific program, right? Okay, I'll move on. This is another friend of mine who's written this story. And she's a very completely different person. But I think what I was explaining at the beginning about, you sharing your story and making a connection with your study, it's the same formula she's applied to this. So can I get another volunteer to read, please, the first paragraph, and then another volunteer to read the second paragraph?
All right, I'm gonna ask Moesha, Mo, and then Candice, you're next for the second one.
Sounds
Mo,
good.
go ahead and read the first one, please.
At the age of 16, my family's moved to inner city Boston from suburban, that's correct? Maryland.
Yeah, it's good.
Dismantled the mass of the world's impurities from which my mother had sheltered me. As the daughter of a working class single Black mother and Chinese-Irish father, I was suddenly confronted by the realities of race and class that now seemed to define me. My growing interest in the diversity of my surroundings led me to pursue a degree in sociology and anthropology at Spelman College. I'm sorry, guys, I'm nervous.
You're doing well, you're doing well.
A subsequent 3-month exchange program to Morocco in 2013 as a Jill Gilman scholar gifted me as a set of binoculars to explore cultures.
Sorry, binoculars just mean like glasses, like, like a view, the way to see the world. Mm-hmm. That's just what it means. Cool.
Yeah, to explore cultures and varied landscapes in which I was an outsider from great distance. Through the lectures from sub-Saharan Africa migrants in Morocco, I learned about the plight and undocumented people, refugees seeking a better life. Far from home, I came to realize that my stepfather, who fled persecution in Sudan, was a refugee himself.
Thank you so much. So this is a very personal letter, right? She's explaining her story. She's explaining her issues with race, ethnicity, the reality she's observed. And most importantly, she's connecting it to the things she's done. She's not only saying, okay, I am a mixed race, person. I have this experience in this, but also, okay, my experience going to Morocco, which is a Northern African country, I've been able to see the inequalities and the issues that Black people, so sub-Saharan African migrants, face in this country. So this is also giving her a better understanding of XYZ. So she tells us, this background story. And then in the second paragraph, you will see how she relates it to what she wants to study and what she studies. So I don't know who the second person was. Yeah.
It's Candice.
Okay.
I'm the second. Okay. So in 2014, I was fortunate to return to Morocco on a Fulbright grant and critical enhancement language award to study Arabic and conduct exploratory ethnographic research on the socio-economic role of West African migrants in Casablanca through key informant interviews with various stakeholders. Following my
Sorry,
Fulbright.
Candice, I'm gonna just say one thing before you continue. I know that, for example, you seen her saying she's done this, she's done that. It might seem like, oh my God, I haven't done all these projects. I haven't traveled to all these countries yet. That's true. But it's not really about like, okay, her saying that she's done all this stuff and this is like a bit maybe too much for you guys. It's more for you to kind of like see the example of, how she's narrating her story. In your case, it might just be that you've only been in Jamaica or you've only been able to travel around the Caribbean and you've not necessarily been, abroad. That's not an issue. It's more about like, okay, the experiences you've had or the project you've engaged in, how does that make you, think critically about an issue that affects you or that affects your community? And how does that relate to something that you might be interested in? You understand my point? So I know that you might be like, oh my God, this girl, she's done so many things. She has this, she has that. And it might sound a bit intimidating. But what I'm trying for you for you guys to guess, first of all, is, the way they write their story, the way they present their story, and the way they connect it to the things they want to do. And also, the writing is very important. They're using a very high standard, English language. They're presenting their story in a way that the reader feels, intrigued and entertained to learn more about them. So what I want you to take from these examples is not necessarily, oh my God, these people are amazing, but rather, okay, they're explaining their story and they're connecting different points about their life, their past, their present, and their future. Okay? That's what I want you guys to understand. Yeah, sorry, Candice, you can go ahead with the last part.
Okay. Following my Fulbright, I pursued a 9-month MSc in Migration Studies at Oxford University and plunged into scholarly migration theories to situate my observations within larger frameworks. While at Oxford, I also addressed the socio-legal needs of persons detained at the local immigration center.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Perfect. So yeah, that's what I was saying, right? The way they start their story and the way they kind of like, this is just a part of a longer, statement of purpose. The statement of purpose can be from a page to a page and a half, maximum 2 pages. It depends on the scholarship program, but this is just, samples of what they've written that I think that could be useful for you guys. Okay. Any questions so far? Is it going well? Cool. Okay, I'm gonna go to the last example. Yes, and in the breakout, I will maybe help you guys to formulate your own statement of purpose or your own kind of like guideline statement. So let's read, let me see. Thinking about which one to read out of the two. Okay, so let's read the first paragraph, which I think is a very good example of something you guys can definitely also prepare. So hopefully in the breakout session, you guys can, work on a sentence, a paragraph based on everything that I have presented to you today that can be useful for you to also like, create your own story related to what you want to study and what you want to do. So I'm gonna have my last volunteer to read the first paragraph. Who are we having?
I could read again, if that's fine.
Yes, I don't know who's talking. The thing is that Zoom doesn't
So
show who's
it's
talking. It's
Candice.
Candice? Okay, go ahead, Candice.
The first paragraph.
Yes, the first paragraph, please. Thank you.
Okay. It's just a bit blurry. I'm not sure why, but volunteer work is important to me, and since high school, I have been committed to helping others. I want to mitigate inequalities in the immigrant population. Wait. I want to mitigate inequalities in the immigrant population, being a daughter of immigrants myself, and my focus has been on English language acquisition, as well as assisting immigrants with
Yeah, acclimating.
okay, consider acclimating to America.
Yeah.
Seeing how language training improved my students' lives compelled me to continue volunteering. When it came time to choose my major, I picked international relations because it integrated my passions, foreign language, intercultural exchange, and service.
Thank you so much, Candice. So I think in comparison to the other two, this feels, maybe the language is easier to kind of like capture. The other ones were more heavy. But at the end of the day, they're all saying the same thing. This is another example of another scholar from another program, very competitive program. She starts the story very simple. She talks about, her volunteer experience, what she did in high school, what she aims to do, like to mitigate inequalities in the immigrant population. Remember what I said before, be specific and concrete. She's not just saying, I want to help people. She's saying, I want to mitigate inequalities. She's very specific of what she wants to do and the target group she wants to work for, right? And why. She says, being a daughter of immigrants myself, so we can see why something like this is of interest to her based on her own personal background, right? So this is kind of like circling again the presentation that I did at the beginning. So what I said at the beginning, right? You having a purpose, linking it to your past, present, and future, and how that relates to the purpose of the organization. So the organization she's applying for, it's called the Wrangle program, which focuses on like getting young graduate students to work at the American Foreign Service, right? So I know that the examples I presented today are mostly focused on international relations, foreign languages, communication, development. That's because that's my field of expertise. So I know that maybe some of you want to focus on studying medicine or studying engineering. I have no idea. But I know that you might feel, oh my God, this does not apply to my field of studies. Don't think about it that way. Actually, like the basis of what they're saying and the way they're communicating it can be translated to any other field of studies you want to study in or any other field of interest you have, right? In this case, the lady, this examples that I have happen to be in this field. But if we're interested in studying medicine or whatever else, computer science or whatever it is that you like, you can also translate the same message in a similar formatting. It's just about tweaking it and making those changes to what applies to you, what applies to your field of study, and why you want to do that. So I think this sentence this paragraph that she has here, she did a fantastic job in conveying the message that, okay, this is what I want to do, this is the reason why, and this is what I hope to do, right? I think it's a very good example. And then, so that to finish up, actually, I have more things to share, but I said I can share that with you guys in your breakout session. And then also Jordan will present more interesting stuff to you. So just to, cover up, to close up my presentation for you guys now, the idea here is basically, if I was to read this last paragraph, she says, during my time in college, I took many interesting and informative classes with great professors. I discovered my passion for economics and desired to pursue the economic cone. In my microeconomic, economics, blah, 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 I learned to apply technical knowledge to real world scenarios. For example, a case study on Botswana, rates of rural urban migration, I don't want to read the whole thing, it's pretty long, blah, 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 blah. And then she ends like this. However, everywhere women earn less than men on average, I continue to study gender inequalities in economics during my time in Beijing. So just to finalize the whole thing, after she explains what she wants to do and the why, she also shows our technical understanding of the issues she's talking about or the issues she cares about. So what I want you guys to also do is that when you're explaining your story and you create your storyline and what you want to do and what you care about, you can also attribute also talk about your skills, the things you've gained. For example, through a volunteer work, what are the things you gain? You can gain soft skills and hard skills. Soft skills like, okay, understanding people more, empathy, working with groups, group dynamics. Those are skills that you can also talk about, because these are skills that you need also when you're going to study at the university. And this is skills that you can show to the grantor or the sponsor that, okay, I understand this, I can work in team, which means that I'm someone who's collaborative. And then you can also talk about your technical understanding. It might not be that technical, but at least if you work in a volunteer work, you can say that, okay, I've worked in an organization, so I know how to, I know how to work in managing teams. I know how to work in, handling issues, conflict resolution. So things like that are also a way to kind of like give example to the work you've done, not only by saying I worked in this and not stating exactly what you did. So yeah, in a nutshell, my message to you is basically that if you understand the key of storytelling, you are able to get a scholarship, because once you own your storytelling skill and you're able to show your why and how it connects to what the sponsor wants, that's the key to getting a scholarship in my point of view. That doesn't mean that every scholarship you apply to you will get it, but at least the more you do it, the more you practice, I'm so sure 1, 2, 3 scholarships will definitely fall in place. And that's it for me. I don't want to take more time because I feel like I did a long presentation, but I hope that this was very useful and helpful for you to also, work on your own storytelling for your scholarship applications. That's it for now. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Palumi. I'm sure that was helpful to all of the ambassadors in the Zoom today. All right. Well, until she unshares her screen. So we're going to head into the breakout room soon, but Jordy is going to have to leave soon. So if anybody has any questions that they wanted to ask Jordy, you can send her a message now, or I guess you could ask her and, get that out before she has to go. I think she has to go at 2. And then we'll head into the breakout rooms and answer any more questions. I mean, there's only 12 of us in here, so yeah, Jordy, is there anything that you wanted to say to everyone before you leave? If she's here.
I'm here. Yeah. Sorry. Nothing in particular, but I will say that everything that Palumi just shared, I think that is such excellent information, and information that is applicable to the Common App essay. So literally everything that she shared are very, very key points. I mean, I know last time we spoke about the Common App and do's and don'ts and things like that when it comes to the essay. But I think that was an even more in-depth I guess, explanation or presentation when it comes to what the essay should look like and things to consider and all of that stuff. So in terms of that, there's nothing that I would add to that, rather than just kind of driving home how important it is to just really take note of everything that she shared, and the things that she pointed out in those essays are so critical, So, I mean, if you guys have any other questions that are not necessarily related to the essay or the application, or colleges in general, I'm happy to answer those questions. If not, I guess we can head into the breakout rooms.
I'm so sorry. I feel like I took Jordan's time. That's why I was asking you when I should stop. But,
no, Palumi, not at all. I didn't have a presentation today.
Okay.
I was prepared to answer questions.
Okay, cool.
But I'm happy that you did that, because I think that it really just added to everything that we spoke about last time, and just so excellent. My mom was here listening and she said that you're so excellent and you flow so freely, and the information.
Hi, Mama.
So yeah, you did not take up any my time at all. So yeah, I mean, if you guys don't have any questions, if you want, you can also get my contact information from Rachel if you guys have questions after this. I'm a resource for all of you, so.
Yeah, so instead of moving to the breakout room, since there's such a small group, as Jordy said, the floor is open for questions. So if you have any questions for Palumi or Jordy, go ahead and raise your hand and ask, or anybody who's in here, Rachel or Adam or me, go ahead and ask.
What grade are most of you in?
Yeah, guys, so this is all. this is a great time for you guys to actually ask things about your own essays. Like if you have any points you want to bring up, if things you might think are a good idea or a bad idea, to ask Palumi, especially for financial aid. This would be or like any specific scholarships that you went and looked up, or like very detailed questions that you may not have gotten an answer to in the presentations. This is the time to do it, and yeah, it's a good opportunity. So the floor is open.
Okay, well, I already wrote my Common App essay and actually submitted it to a couple schools, but I was asking if it is okay if it's not necessarily academic in nature, but it does drive home like a personal aspect of me and like personal growth.
Yep, that's exactly what it should be. Like, and we would recommend that you do not make it academic in nature. So, you know, that your Common App essay is not focused so much on your academic achievements or anything like that, because the truth is that they're able to see your academic achievements in other parts of the Common App, you know, where they're looking at your transcripts, they're getting recommendations from your teachers, they're seeing your activities. So everything else points to your academic life. And this is the only opportunity that you get to speak about yourself, you know, like your personal development, your personal growth, things like that. So, yeah, so I would strongly advise that you do not make that essay academic. So I think that's what you did is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Is everybody else in sixth form or not yet?
Not yet.
What grade are you guys in? Grade 11?
Yes.
Daniel's the only one not in sixth form. The rest are in sixth form, upper six mainly.
Upper six. So did you guys submit applications already? Oh, Candice is in lower six.
Sorry, I'm so like not in the context. So can you tell me what this grade means? Like, is it before uni? Is it a secondary school? Because I don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Right before university. So they're about 17, 18.
Okay.
Those last years of
So
high school.
equivalent to like grade 12.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, US grade 12 system. Sixth form is it's not, I don't think it's a mandatory program, but it's an optional program, kind of like college prep program, I guess, like admissions counselors would look at it as, because school officially ends at the 11th grade in Jamaica. So when they go to sixth form, they're essentially doing 2 years. That's equivalent to the 1 year of 12th grade or senior year that the US students would do. Lower six. Okay. Yeah. Adam. Lower six is junior year, upper six is senior year.
Right.
If application deadline is January